Hey everyone, hope all is well. In this video, we will proceed with our user app demo. And in this video, we will discuss the pagination and filtration concept. And pagination is a common technique used to just divide the content into smaller or more manageable chunks by breaking up content into pages. So it's from performance it's better because it's faster page load times. By only loading a subset of the content at a time, pagination can help reduce the amount of data that needs to be loaded on each page. And for the filtration will be good if the user need to search on a specific item or specific users in our example. So let's get started. Well, now let's start to implement the pagination. And the idea of pagination is send the page number and load the next page after we reach it at the end of the list. Let's go back to the slides, user slides. And now we will need to pass a specific property to get users. So let's pass page, and here we can pass the parameters at the page. Okay, and also we will need to update the user list logic. First things we will need to define the user state to page and set page, and also to data, because after we loading the next page we will need to also caching the previous data and so on. So let's define the first one to the page. And the initial value for this can be 1. Let's define another one for all data. And the initial value for this will be empty array. So what actually need to do is tracking when the loading data is success. Here, we need to update the set all data, the data itself through set all data. So we will need to use effect hook to implement this. So let's try to do it. The dependency we will need to change the snippet of code we will write here is when is success change, and also when the response to data change. What actually need here is concatenate new data with existing one. So we will set all data previous data. We will create new set. Set here to just make sure that every element is unique, and we will get the previous data and concatenate it with the new response we will receive through the endpoint or through the next page. Okay, so we can keep it here, but we just need to make sure that since actually this line of code is applied when it's success. So we will need to add a condition here for a success. And yeah, for sure, we need to just concatenate with response. Then we will define a function to load or handle load more data. So let's do like this. Constant handle load more. And here we can set the page and increment it by 1. But the idea here is that we need to do this under a specific condition. We need to make sure that the data is not fetching, because we don't fetch the data while it's already another call sent to the endpoint. And also, if we reach it to the total pages, which is provided by the endpoint, there is no need to add additional calls to the back end and come with it. So let's add it if condition here. First things, we need to make sure that it's not fetching the data, and the current page is less than the total pages from the endpoint. So the response, we will have the total pages here. After that, we can add set page, the new page to it. We need to update the flat list to accept the function when we on end reach it. So we call on end reach it, handle more, load more. And also we can set the threshold of on and reach it to be triggered. So let's do it. It can be 0.5. And sure, the data here will not be response data, it will be all data. Now, after we do this, we can pass the page to the user, get users query, and let's run the application and test what exactly done. And I will need to change this to be 1 instead of just 0.5. Let's clear and track what exactly happened. This is loaded the first page, but if we try to scroll down, it will call the next page. And if we try to load more, it will not recall because we already added this condition that if it will just set the page if the current page is less than the response, the total pages. And the total pages here, it's only 2 page. Okay, now it's time to implement the filtration, because if we just type anything here, there is nothing happen. If we try to search specific users, nothing will happen. So first things, we need to create a file to add function to filter the users. So let's add it here, call it user filter data. And let's copy this name constant. And this function will take the data, and this data will be of type array of users. And second parameter is the search term we will use to filter the data. So we will do with data.filter, and we can add what exactly the keys we will need to filter it. This is for three things. We need to specify what exactly is the type of search term, and this is type of string. And we need to import the user model. We can search for first name, last name, email. This is actually the keys from the backend. And email. Because on the list itself, we concatenate the first name and last name together. So we'll add a constant here and call it username, and add the same concatenation like this. First name with the last name. then we will need to return the filtration. So if the username dot to lowercase, because we need to search it, even though in the list we search it with uppercase or lowercase, we need to change it all the keys to lowercase, for example, to make it case insensitive. If username dot includes what exactly in the search term, or if the email dot includes what's the user type in the search term. After that, we need to define the user data. So constant user data, and this will be function which will take the same property and return here if the user type something in the search bar. So if there is a search term, then the data which should be returned is the user filtered data. Otherwise, what actually be displayed on the list will be the data itself. Then we can export this user data as default. Let's back to the user list, and instead of just pass the data, we need to call the user data from the file. We define the function there and pass the all data and search term. Let's try to test it. Let's say, for example, we need to search for, we need to, here, we need to pass the data and the search term. That's why when we try to search about something, it comes with undefined. So now if we try to search for a specific user, return it back with that. If we try to another one, so now the filtration itself is implemented. Let's try to update the search bar design, because I see that this is needed to be centralized. So let's back to search bar style, and here we can do it like this. We need to justify the content to be centered and just align items to be centered as well. Let's see the result. Yeah, I think it's better, because before this was not, it wasn't centralized actually. So now the filtration functionality is done. The next things we will need to implement is implement the swipe action to implement delete and try the mutation, because we already tried the query. We need to try one for the mutation. See you in the next video.